Why 97% fail? They never master these three things. 77% of people live and die without ever discovering their true potential. Not because they weren't gifted, but because they never learned one thing: how to control themselves. If you can't master your mood, you'll make emotional decisions that cost you years. If you don't control your mind, you'll drown in noise, doubt, and fear. And if you can't manage your money, you'll be a slave to your bills, no matter how talented you are. This isn't just another motivational speech. This is a blueprint for freedom. If you want to rise above average and claim the life that's meant for you, then listen to the end. Because the world rewards those who rule themselves first. Most people don't fail because they're not intelligent, talented, or hardworking. They fail because they never master three internal forces that silently determine the course of their lives: their emotions, their thoughts, and their financial behavior. The truth is uncomfortable. Potential is not enough. Drive is not enough. Even opportunity isn't enough if you don't have control over yourself. Emotional instability causes people to lash out, give up too soon, or react to situations in ways that damage relationships and reputations. Mental distraction keeps people from focusing long enough to finish anything meaningful. And financial recklessness traps people in cycles of debt and survival, never giving them the freedom to pursue purpose. It's not lack of opportunity that holds most people back. It's lack of self-mastery. The sad reality is that you can attend all the seminars, watch every motivational video, and read dozens of success books. But if you don't learn to govern your mood, discipline your mind, and manage your money, you will keep hitting the same invisible wall. People try to improve their lives from the outside in, changing jobs, partners, cities, but nothing truly changes until the inside is addressed. Emotions that aren't tamed will sabotage you. Thoughts that aren't aligned will scatter your energy. Money that isn't tracked and planned will disappear faster than it comes. Mastering these three areas is not optional for success. It is essential. Without that mastery, even the most gifted individual will fall short of their potential. You can't build an extraordinary life on emotional reactions, mental chaos, and financial mismanagement. Those are the traits of the 97%, those who try hard but never quite break through. They wake up every year wondering why they're still stuck, still struggling, still surviving instead of thriving. It's not bad luck, it's not the system, it's not a curse. It's the consequences of not building internal order. The elite, the 3% who rise, lead, and live with purpose, aren't superhuman. They've simply trained themselves to control what most people ignore. They respond instead of react. They think with clarity under pressure, and they use their money with intention instead of impulse. If you want to rise, you don't need a miracle. You need discipline in the areas that most people avoid. If you can master your mood, you'll stop making regretful decisions. If you can master your mind, you move with purpose, not confusion. And if you can master your money, you'll gain the freedom to shape your own future. That's the difference between success and frustration. That's the difference between success and frustration. That's why 97% fail, and why you don't have to. Mood swings are one of the most underestimated enemies of success. They creep in quietly, disguised as normal reactions: frustration, anger, sadness, irritability. but their impact is anything but small. In fact, many people have lost life-changing opportunities not because they were incapable or unqualified, but simply because they didn't know how to manage their emotions in the moment that mattered most. One wrong word, one emotional outburst, one decision made in a storm of anger or fear. That's all it takes to destroy something that took years to build. Emotional control isn't just a soft skill, it's a survival tool in the real world. Think about it. How many times have you looked back and wished you had stayed calm instead of reacting? How many bridges have been burned, relationships strained, or decisions regretted? All because emotions were in control, not you. We often underestimate the cost of losing our composure, but those costs add up. You can't see them clearly in the moment, but over time, they become missed promotions, lost trust, broken friendships, or simply a reputation for being unstable. The truth is, no one wants to work with or trust someone who's unpredictable emotionally, no matter how skilled they are. Emotional intelligence isn't just about feeling good. It's about knowing how to feel the right thing at the right time, and more importantly, how not to let a temporary feeling make a permanent mess. Successful people don't suppress emotions, they learn how to process them privately and act wisely in public. They've trained themselves to pause before reacting, to observe before speaking, and to ask themselves whether their next move is led by wisdom or just a passing emotion. That pause, just a few seconds of emotional discipline, can save you years of regret. The world is filled with brilliant people who never fulfill their potential because they never learned this. They get angry and quit. They get jealous and start comparing. They get discouraged and stop showing up. They let how they feel dictate what they do, and that is a recipe for a stagnant life. The people who win long-term are not the ones who always feel good. They're the ones who stay focused even when they don't, because they've learned that your emotions are terrible leaders but powerful servants. When you control your mood, you stop being reactive. You start becoming intentional. And that shift alone can change the entire trajectory of your life. A cluttered mind is like a foggy windshield. You can have the best car, the strongest engine, and a clear destination, but if you can't see clearly, you're bound to crash or get lost. Mental clarity is not a luxury, it's a necessity for anyone serious about achieving their goals. Without it, you waste time, energy, and potential on distractions, confusion, and emotional overthinking. The mind is your command center. If it's overwhelmed, unfocused, or scattered, your decisions, actions, and direction will reflect that chaos. Mastering your mind is about creating mental discipline, so your thoughts serve your goals, not sabotage them. Many people live on autopilot, reacting to whatever thoughts and feelings happen to dominate them that day. One moment they're inspired, the next they're doubting everything. One bad comment, one unexpected challenge, and their whole momentum collapses. Why? Because they've never trained their mind to stay steady and purposeful regardless of external noise. When your mind isn't disciplined, you fall into the trap of comparison, procrastination, fear, overthinking, and second-guessing. You make decisions based on temporary emotions rather than long-term vision. You get distracted by everything urgent and miss everything important. Mental clarity starts with intention. It's choosing every day to focus on what matters, to eliminate what doesn't, and to silence the internal noise that tries to paralyze you. This doesn't mean you become robotic or emotionless. It means you lead your life with strategy, not just feeling. A sharp mind knows what it wants, sees the path clearly, and isn't easily thrown off by setbacks or opinions. It stays calm under pressure. It questions impulses before acting on them. It prioritizes truth over temporary emotion. It's the foundation of all high-level success. People often say they lack motivation or confidence, but what they really lack is clarity. When you know who you are, what you want, and where you're going, motivation follows. Confidence follows. Energy follows. But if your mind is full of clutter, worries, regrets, comparisons, assumptions, you'll never move with power. Mastering your mind means cleaning out the noise daily, feeding it with truth, guarding it from negativity, and directing it like a disciplined general leads an army. In the end, the most successful people don't necessarily have more talent or luck. They've just built a mental fortress that protects their focus and keeps them locked into their vision. When you master your mind, you no longer react to life, you start shaping it. You stop drifting and start driving. And that's the shift that separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Money is not just a tool, it's a mirror. It reflects your mindset, habits, and values. And the truth is, most people don't have a money problem, they have a discipline problem. They want freedom, but they spend like slaves to impulse. They want wealth, but they manage money like it's a mystery. The reason 97% of people fail financially is not because they don't make enough, but because they never learned how to control and direct what they do make. Without financial discipline, even a high income becomes meaningless. Money will come and go, but if you don't master your relationship with it, it will always leave faster than it arrives. Mastering money is about developing a long-term mindset. It means learning to say no to short-term pleasure for long-term security. It means building habits that respect your future self, not just please your present feelings. You don't need to be a millionaire to be financially powerful. You just need to have control. Control over your spending, control over your saving, control over your emotions when making financial decisions. Because money doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to strategy. And too many people make emotional purchases, emotional investments, and emotional reactions that end up draining their potential. Look around. Most people are trapped in a cycle of earning and spending, never building anything. They stay broke not because of lack of opportunity, but because they never built the structure to hold wealth. And what's even more dangerous is how money mismanagement affects every other area of life. Financial stress leads to broken relationships, poor health, and even mental burnout. When you don't have control over your money, it eventually takes control over you. It limits your freedom, your choices, your peace of mind. Financial mastery starts with awareness, knowing where your money goes, what your patterns are, and how your beliefs about money shape your behavior. Then it requires responsibility. No more blaming the system, your job, or your background. It's about taking ownership of your financial story. Lastly, it takes vision. Knowing what kind of life you want to build and using money as the servant to get you there, not the master that rules you. Real freedom isn't just about having a lot of money. It's about knowing how to use it wisely, grow it patiently, and protect it intentionally. When you learn to control your money, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming a designer of your future. You stop working just to survive and start managing money to thrive. And in that shift, everything changes. Most people chase success without ever realizing that the battlefield is internal. They study strategies, watch motivational videos, and set ambitious goals, yet still feel stuck, lost, or exhausted. Why? Because they haven't aligned their internal world with the external success they seek. Discipline is the silent engine behind all meaningful progress. Without it, talent goes to waste, potential fades, and goals remain distant dreams. Discipline is what bridges the gap between desire and achievement. And here's the truth: the people who win in life aren't always the most talented. They're the most consistent. When you have discipline, you don't wait to feel motivated. You don't let your mood dictate your actions. You do what needs to be done because you're focused on where you're going, not how you feel right now. This is the difference between amateurs and professionals, between those who dabble and those who dominate. Amateurs depend on inspiration. Professionals depend on discipline. The disciplined person shows up whether it's easy or not, fun or not, popular or because they know success is built in silence, in repetition, in doing the work no one applauds for. But discipline isn't just about grinding through hard tasks. It's about creating systems that protect your energy, time, and focus. It's about making decisions ahead of time so you're not constantly negotiating with your excuses. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to growth. People often complain about not having time, but the truth is they lack discipline with their time. Hours are wasted in meaningless scrolls, shallow conversations, and emotional reaction. Discipline helps you guard your life against what doesn't matter, so you can pour into what does. Another key aspect of discipline is the power of delayed gratification. We live in a world that worships instant results, fast likes, quick money, easy comfort. But real transformation doesn't work on that timeline. Discipline trains your mind to stay committed even when the results are not immediate. It gives you patience without passivity. It teaches you to trust the process, not rush it. When you become disciplined, you stop chasing shortcuts and start building foundations. The people who rise above average are the ones who master themselves. They lead themselves before trying to lead others. They keep promises to themselves when no one is watching. That's real strength. Because if you can't lead yourself, how can you lead your life? Discipline is the foundation of freedom. When you master discipline, you no longer need motivation to move. You don't rely on circumstances to push you. You move with purpose regardless of what's happening around you. And that kind of person becomes unstoppable. The environment you surround yourself with has a profound impact on your ability to succeed. It's often said that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a reality. Your environment shapes your thoughts, habits, energy, and ultimately your results. If you're constantly exposed to negativity, distraction, or people who don't believe in your vision, your chances of reaching your goals diminish. On the other hand, if you create an environment that supports growth, discipline, and positivity, success becomes much more attainable. Your environment isn't just about people, it includes your physical space, the information you consume, and the habits you reinforce daily. A cluttered or chaotic space can lead to a cluttered mind. The noise, distractions, and lack of organization drain your mental energy, making it harder to focus and make clear decisions. Conversely, an environment that's clean, organized, and inspiring fuels creativity and productivity. It sends a message to your brain that this is a place for work, focus, and growth. But it's also crucial to pay attention to the digital environment you engage with. Social media, news, entertainment, these all influence your mindset and mood more than most people realize. Consuming negative or unproductive content can drain your energy and fill your mind with doubt or fear. But when you intentionally choose uplifting, educational, and motivating content, you feed your mind with the fuel it needs to push forward. One of the biggest mistakes people make is underestimating how much their environment affects their discipline and emotional control. When you're around people who procrastinate, complain, or lack ambition, it's hard to stay motivated. When your surroundings are filled with distractions, whether it's noise, clutter, or constant interruptions, your ability to concentrate suffers. On the flip side, environments that encourage accountability, hard work, and positivity make it easier to maintain discipline and emotional stability. Changing your environment may seem like a small or superficial step, but it can lead to massive results. It's about creating a space, physically, mentally, and socially, that supports the person you want to become. It means being intentional about who you spend time with and what you allow into your mental and emotional space. It's the difference between drifting aimlessly and steering your life with purpose. Ultimately, your environment can either be your prison or your launch pad. The key is awareness and choice. You may not control everything around you, but you can control what you accept and what you reject. Build an environment that empowers your mood, sharpens your mind, and supports your financial discipline, and you will create the foundation for lasting success. Most people fail not because they don't have dreams, but because they never learn how to protect their energy. Energy is your most valuable currency. It fuels your focus, your discipline, your emotional control, and your ability to follow through. And yet people give it away so easily to distractions, drama, negativity, overthinking, and even the wrong people. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's necessary if you want to do anything meaningful with your life. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of mental and emotional energy. How you spend it determines the quality of your day and eventually the direction of your life. You can't expect to build something great if you're constantly drained, emotionally reactive, and mentally exhausted. You need clarity, and clarity requires space that is protected from noise, stress, and unnecessary conflict. When you give your energy to people who don't value your time, when you engage in arguments that go nowhere, or when you obsess over things you can't control, you're slowly killing your progress. Protecting your energy means setting boundaries, firm, unapologetic boundaries. It means knowing when to say no, not out of arrogance, but out of purpose. It's not your job to carry everyone's burdens, solve everyone's problems, or be available to everything and everyone. The more you allow yourself to be stretched thin, the less power you have to focus on your goals. Winners are not the busiest people. They're the most focused. They understand that energy, once wasted, cannot be recovered. It also means protecting your internal peace. You can't afford to let negative thoughts spiral out of control or let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. That's how people sabotage themselves. Protecting your energy means protecting your mindset, feeding it truth, guarding it from lies, and managing it like a fortress. If your mind is under attack, your life will follow. Moreover, energy is tied to your habits. Sleep, food, exercise, digital input, all of it affects your state of being. When you ignore your health, drown in distractions, and overstimulate your brain, you compromise your performance. Protecting your energy is also about creating daily rhythms that nourish your body and sharpen your mind. It's not about perfection. Success doesn't require more hustle. It requires better energy management. The people who protect their energy don't burn out, they rise steadily. They know that in order to give their best to the world, they must first preserve what fuels them. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, resources, or even opportunities. They fail because they ignore the small daily disciplines that quietly shape their future. Success is not one grand event. It's a result of consistent, often invisible habits done repeatedly over time. These habits, when ignored or underestimated, become the very reason why 97% of people never reach their full potential. They chase motivation instead of developing routine. They wait for the perfect moment instead of building daily momentum. And as a result, they stay stuck, dreaming big, but living small. One of the most dangerous myths is that greatness is tied to moments of inspiration. But inspiration without execution is worthless. It's the person who shows up daily, even when they don't feel like it, that builds something unshakable. It's in the early morning decisions, the quiet acts of discipline, and the private moments of self-retreat that your future is being built or destroyed. What seems like small compromises, skipping a task, giving in to distraction, avoiding responsibility, are actually massive cracks in the foundation of your potential. These little things compound. Skipping one workout may not make a difference, but skipping it for a week becomes a pattern. Procrastinating once feels harmless, but it slowly becomes who you are. And soon, the life you wanted becomes a distant dream, while the life you settled for becomes your reality. The people who rise to the top are not always the most talented. They're the ones who master the small things daily. They learn to value repetition over recognition. They understand that character is built when no one's watching. Mastery comes from consistency, not convenience. And yet, most people live based on feelings. If they feel good, they perform well. If they feel tired, they give up. But those who win in life understand that feelings are not reliable leaders. Discipline must lead and feelings must follow. This is why mood, mind, and money all stay broken in the lives of so many, because they never develop the muscle of daily control, and without it, everything else falls apart. If you want to be different from the 97%, you have to do what the 97% won't. You have to be the one who keeps showing up, who does the work when it's boring, who protects your focus like it's sacred, because it is. The future you want isn't waiting for some lucky break. It's being carved by the decisions you make today, quietly, daily, and relentlessly.